You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. Success. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it. Do that. Let's do that.
Let's do.
You know what? Each time I watch that, I have a different favorite part. You know what my favorite part is now? Me standing in front of Madison Square Garden like that with all those, rabid fans. Do you know I have people that will call, I mean, it's obviously Photoshopped. Okay, that wasn't the intent to fool anyone.
Oh man, I can't believe you let the secret out, Dan.
But
Come on.
But people actually will call me and like, congratulations on the gig, all that stuff. I'm like, you don't want to tell them. I'm not quite there. I'm not quite there yet, but it's happening. People are going to get back into real life things again. It's going to happen. What do you think, Star?
I can't make the photo too good, because if you make it too good, then it looks too intentionally fake. Like, look, he's on Madison Square Garden. It was like, you have to make it look just fake enough to where it's like, okay, I get it. That's funny.
Right. But by the way, that's a goal. I think that's everybody's dream, just to be there. But a few people actually get to that level. Maybe not Madison Square Garden, but there are a few speakers, a very small, higher upper echelon, that get to these, thousands and thousands of raving crazy fans in the audience. And it just so happens that we managed to corral one of the monsters in the speaking industry and really the sales industry, because, any business you're in, if you reach a certain level, baby, you're a good salesperson and you're a great marketer. You got the whole package. And we managed to corral one of those people here on Dan Jordan Live. What do you think of that?
We keep raising the bar. We just absolutely keep raising the bar. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to the virtual stage that is the Dan Jordan Live Show, leadership speaker, executive coach, and of course, the author of the New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller, Never Fly Solo. Please welcome the Wingman, Lieutenant Colonel Waldo Waldman. Welcome.
Arms in the air. You got to do. Oh, he's got a salute. Okay. Okay. Let's do that one. On the count of three. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
It's how you snap it down.
Yeah.
Things I was doing a video the other day, and my video editor said, "Waldo, I heard the snap on your flight suit when you did that." And I said, it's a sign of respect. When you salute somebody, when you slap your hand down, it's not just a sign of respect for the person. It's a sign of respect for the uniform and for this right here, this amazing flag that represents our country.
Amen. Hey, so you don't know this. So I have a terrific daughter. She's awesome. Who's got a rotten boyfriend, and he's in the Army. And he's gone to military school, so he's a lieutenant now, I guess a second lieutenant.
Right.
But when he graduates, he'll be a first lieutenant. And I'm joking that he's a rotten kid. He's a good boy. But the coolest thing, the coolest. I went to his ceremony when I guess when he got commissioned with that second lieutenant thing, when somebody else saluted him for the first time. It's like an honor to get saluted to for the first time.
Yeah, and I think you got to give $1 to the person who salutes you, or actually a 50-cent piece or a coin in honor of that first salute. There's nothing more, I guess, rewarding and exhilarating and sentimental when you receive that first salute, when you get your butter bars on, after graduating the Air Force Academy and driving out the gate and saying goodbye, for that 4-year hellhole I spent, and driving into your first base as an officer. But it's incumbent, it's incumbent upon you as an officer or anybody wearing a uniform, and we'll get to the sales part here in a second, but to be emulating the characteristics of the rank, the wings that you have. And so even to this day, as a 25-year veteran, lieutenant colonel, as a fighter pilot, somebody salutes me, it's always out of respect, and I'm snapping that salute down because I'm proud of this uniform. And I think also when you look at our responsibility in sales or in leadership or as a speaker, showing up prepared, honoring your prospects, not taking them for granted. They may be saluting you for the first time, and guess what? They're watching your salute too, right, Deej and Chris? They're watching it, how you show up, how prepared you are, your energy, everything counts. And so that's what I learned as a fighter pilot, especially getting that first salute. So congratulations on the family member who joined up and is now part of the Dan Jordan.
Well, he's not a family member yet. Just slow down there. The girl's 19. but so you did that. But, you know, I'll be honest with you, in the terms of sales or in the world or in the business world, when you're getting started, it's an unfair advantage when a guy comes to the stage with a flight suit, with, you know, walking straight, their back is straight, and you have that snap and that kind of pride and stride with yourself. How do you walk in to a prospect and entertain them without kind of overpowering these people in that situation and making your prospect feel small?
It's a great question. And I think it's important in any endeavor, in any conversation, in anything you're doing to build a relationship. And it comes with rapport, building that connection, that trust, minimizing their fear, lowering their barriers, and making sure you're connecting not just head to head, but heart to heart. Even now more than ever, right? Where salespeople are commoditized. In my world as a speaker and as an executive coach, very commoditized. Thousands of people do what I do. People do what we do, you know, in sales and selling something. And so you got to create that human connection, that authentic transparency. And so what I do in my speeches, and then what I do on all my calls, and a lot of them are virtually right now, all of them are initially virtually, either on the phone or through Zoom or looking at this webcam or camera in front, is to find a way to connect, to lower their barriers, to build that human-to-human, person-to-person connection that marinates the steak of the conversation. It helps bake in their trust for you. And if I'm here and they're here, if I'm walking out there being cocky, fighter pilot wings, I was a fighter pilot, you weren't, you don't know what it's like to be like me. Let me tell you what my world is like. They don't give a chutzpah about that world. They care about you. By the way, that's a Jewish word. Me and the Jordan man are wing Jews. So Chris, you may have missed that. I don't know.
Hey, listen, I'm honorary, my man. I've got my dejanary. I've got my dejanary right here. So I speak fluent Yiddish. So
yes, he even likes pickled herring. I mean,
I had herring last night for the love of God.
I do it when on my dad's birthday or when I'm just like reminiscing and thinking about my dad. It's always the same thing. It's pickled herring, some matzah, and the red horseradish. Forget about it.
Man. So you went above and beyond with the horseradish and matzah, but I had a herring and some crackers last night. I was so hungry, but it'll knock your breath out for a month, folks.
There's no smooching going on that night if you have herring. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Listen to that connection, that small little subtle fun jab that we gave each other about our background, about our humanity. I knew about you. I've been to your website before. We've done work together. We've have a relationship, but I'm still going to honor this relationship by looking you up on LinkedIn. We were dabbling back and forth on our Facebook and LinkedIn posts. We texted yesterday. We connected so that we could show up to this program prepared to sell each other, to influence each other, to give as much value to the people who decided today to interrupt their day and say, I'm going to listen to Deej and Waldo and Chris and invest my time on how to be a better leader, better salesperson, better human being. So those subtle things are what you need to do in sales. Find that little authentic connection. Don't make it cheesy. Don't make it so that you're just trying to build this false rapport, this false connection. Learn enough about the person, connect with them, remove their barriers, and then we're all wearing the same flight suit or not. And we're all connected with each other as people. And I think when you do that initially, now you're setting that conversation, you're setting that tone, that mutual respect and rapport critical to advancing the value proposition that you're going to have in delivering on the objectives of that prospect who's calling you up and who's probably calling up 5 or 10 other speakers or insurance salespeople or whatever. Right?
Yeah, that's fun. I want to get into your speaking world to see how you've been able to adjust with this new stuff that's going on, and you've been successful at it. But I think you said something really important that people would you just kind of glossed over it because it comes so naturally. But that word rapport,
yeah,
is the main thing, and you need to look for that commonality. It's there somewhere. I was just on the phone right before this with someone who called me back, and I'm like, the first thing I said was, listen, even my mother doesn't call me back. I can't. So she automatically kind of giggled and liked me, and I said, where are you from? Because I knew she was from New Jersey, and I'm from New Jersey. I said, where are you from, New Jersey? I go, that's why you like me. So I actually said that to her. So that little thing right there, it was a nice little conversation. She gave me a referral for something that came about, but it was all because of that initial rapport that I was looking for. And it's always there if you look for it.
And it was like you said, and it was intentional. It was research. You didn't take that call back for granted. And so I think the tendency many times for us, even when we cold call, and I think you should never cold call, you should bold call with confidence because you did your research, you have a plan, you understand your contingencies, just like a fighter pilot, right? But is to just make that connection, and you do it through humor, your personality. For some people, it's hard to do. Some people don't have the energy that you and I or Chris have. Some people aren't quick on their feet. And so you have to learn how to have that conversation, but doing some intentional research, finding a connection, being quick on your feet. Those are the signs of a sales professional that initiate that conversation that leads to revenue, right?
Well, yeah. So let me ask you, because that's a good point. So somebody watching this or somebody thinking, okay, great. All I got to do is research them. It's easy enough on LinkedIn. You can get a lot of background story, but how do you, your opinion, how do you approach them with that? Hey, I know we went to the same high school, without sounding like a stalker. So
it really depends, and it's true. But sometimes I will say to them, Joe, Lisa, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. And I'll joke around, how am I looking? Does the makeup look good? The lights are a little shiny today. Just joking around, making fun. By the way, how do I sound? I've got this $500 behemoth mic that I had to spend putting this office together, crazy, blah, blah, blah. Just, the lighting's here. I'm sweating in this damn flight suit. Lord help me, or whatever, right? Find a way to just initiate the conversation, and there'll be something that'll be going on in that conversation, what they say, joking around, having fun, or if people are all business, which many are, right? They don't want to be messing around and let's get to the point. That's okay. And so you have to mirror your prospect, but most people like humor. Most people like an authentic connection. Mention something about the way of the world today. Hey, it's the Wednesday, January 6th. We just had the elections. I hope you didn't have too much heartburn with the outcomes. We won't get into a political conversation here right now, but blah, blah, blah. What's relevant? What's going on in the news today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Off in Michigan, I assume you are. It looks like there's some snow going on here. It's 50 degrees out. I got some people working outside. So if somebody knocks on the door here, or if you hear my dog barking, welcome to COVID, right?
Yeah. So so the main thing is what you're hearing is just you're somehow going to figure out a way to humanize it. And it's even more important over the camera than it is in person. It's illegal. You could touch somebody. You could do all sorts of stuff. Yeah. But over the camera, it's very important to get that humanization going. Those are great ideas. So how's the speaking world going?
So, but in that same reflection, when we're on these calls and I got leads coming in, business is going well. I've got 8 programs this month in January, and I'm not using that to brag because it's a lot better than it was the past couple of months. January, February, March are always busy for me because of the sales meetings. But here's the deal. I mentioned my mic. Look at the camera. It looks pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. Nice lighting setup. I've got my screen behind me. Okay. I want to show up to this call professional, mission ready, and not taking this conversation for granted. So everything counts, folks. When you're doing your calls, make sure you have a quality mic. Make sure the lighting looks good. Make sure you have some software that can show some screens or share some information like I have. I have something called a Stream Deck. This is like a little switcher. I was panicked when I first had to learn how to use this. I'm like, these virtual cameras, the lighting. Unfortunately, I have a bigger office. I had to pivot like everybody else, but I had to propel, had to take some action, invest in resources, connect with people who I spent time with over the last few years, who I've nurtured relationships with, and said the 3 most important words that people who are going through change and are overwhelmed need to say, which are, I need help. So I called out Mayday and I need help to my buddies, and I got this office together and it's looking pretty good. It's not phenomenal. I think content is key at the end of the day. I don't care how great your mic and lighting is. If you're not delivering on the value proposition of your business and able to lead your prospect across the sales goal, you're messing up. But everything counts. And so I had a lot of great relationships. I invested a lot of time, and I've humbled myself in pivoting to this new virtual world. And I feel much more confident in delivering my speeches and allowing me to be present because I'm prepared. And when you're present and prepared and confident, guess who ultimately benefits? The prospect who you're going to help. Now I can focus on you, Deej and Chris. Now I can focus on the people who are listening to this conversation. I don't need to worry about anything because I'm present, I'm focused, I'm providing value. When you're providing value, guess what? You're probably going to close a deal or outmaneuver your competitor.
That is just sales magic, baby.
Yeah,
We didn't even
brilliant. And Lieutenant Colonel, I think you said something that a lot of people that spend a lot of time on their screens all day, they need to really listen, and that is the content is the most important thing. All of these things you did to pivot, absolutely vital to your business, and some of these things are really not that hard. Get some light, get a good quality mic. It's not that expensive. Watch a few YouTube videos. You can get your general act together. You as a keynote speaker, it's part of your business, so you have to invest a lot more, but you still focused on the content. And there's so many people that focus so much on the gear and all of that mind junk and I've got to get the vibe board and I've got to get this and I've got to get that. It's like, no. What is your content? What is your key viewer, your key listener? What are their problems? How are you going to work to solve those problems? That's your content. That's your goal. That's your mission. And I think that was critical for you to address that.
And because they may not say anything, but they are noticing. If your light's crummy, if you got a bad background or something that's distracting, or you don't sound too good, they're like, ooh, or your phone, for example, is ringing while you're on. I turned my phone off. I unplugged it. I've got my phone on silent, right? I've got some props here. We're going to talk about them. I got this F-16, right? I can show a copy of my book. I can show my coins. I can use my office and this amazing medium called the computer, which you can't use on a regular phone call where most of our prospect calls are taking place, and show them, hey, here's a video.
He immediately headed into the emergency divert.
Here's an example. I share my screen, or here's, I'm going to give a copy of my book later on, or whatever. Leverage your technologies and tools for them to go, wow, oh, interesting. Or what I'll even do is I'll point my camera around. Hey, here's my office here. I got the lights there. There's my love you all. And check it out here. I got all this other stuff. Look, there I am, right? And so I'll point around the room and I'll say, this is what I'm going to deliver my program with. And if my dog's in the room, hey, I'll even show my picture of my dog. I'll put a little video of my dog and my cat.
All right.
You
So
know, and
here's
that's
the
part of
issue.
you, right? Yeah, it's part of you. It's being like you said earlier, transparent, right? This is you. You are putting things together, but there's no big facade. It's like, look, here's my camera. I'm live on a show. This is me. This is my dog, and I think that's part of marinating that steak, like you said earlier, and in gaining the respect, the trust of your potential clients, your viewers, your ideal viewers, if you will.
All right. Well, so let me jump in. So, I mean, that's just great, and everybody loves to see, the backstage of any office. So that's really welcoming people into your world. But you got a lot of stuff, and you got a lot of content. Many of the people that we talk with, I imagine people that you coach as well, they don't have as much, the years of experience and all the other stuff, the content to play around with.
Right.
If someone was just getting started, and didn't fly an F-16, which is the coolest thing. You got to tell us some stories. He's got the little video, the little primer that you have for me, Chris Stone, which is awesome, and I love it. You should see what this guy. I mean, I got F-16s flying around. If they don't have that stuff, what would you suggest that they start with? Like, what's the number one thing that if they were your wingman, or if you were their wingman and you were coaching them, what would you tell them to do the first thing to get started?
So look, what does the F-16 represent to you guys? What does that F-16 and the fact that I flew it represent to you?
Just power, total masculinity. It's pride and smarts.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
Well, I think it just goes back to the service. I mean, I think the fact that you flew the F-16 is really cool, right? But I think it's a part of the overarching thing, which was, you felt compelled to serve our country while flying.
It stands for excellence.
Those are all great things. And it, and by the way, there are tons of females who I flew with. I know it's very masculine. And a lot of what I talk about is more, I guess, for the lack of a better word, feminine. Relationships, heart, fear, courage. But I'm sharing that because what does the fact that I flew F-16s, what does that say about me in some way? You talk about service and all that other stuff, but what did I have to deal with to fly that F-16?
You had, it's not an easy task, and you had to count on yourself and a lot of training and a lot of practice. And you had to be the best, or they wouldn't put you behind the cockpit.
Right. So it's based on experience, right? Experience. What did I do to create that experience? And Rainey Lynn, who's my old executive assistant here, she popped in. Courage to fly those jets. Took a lot of courage to fly those jets, right, folks?
More courage to land them.
Yeah. Landing and taking off is one thing. Like the Navy, I always joke around, the Navy can land on those aircraft carriers. They're great at taking off and landing. The Air Force, we're the best at everything in between, right? So, but courage, accountability, teamwork, preparation, dealing with stress, service, those were experiences that I gained and that I am an expert in. So what I would tell that young man or woman or seasoned professional who's transitioning from software sales or being an attorney or a construction CEO to the world of speaking is I would want them to look back on their experiences. Not that they were flying jets, or maybe that they were a parent of 6 kids, or a single mom dealing with a special needs child, or an inventor who started from nothing and created a really cool invention and made $10 million selling it to Google and now wants to share his or her story about their success. Or somebody who overcame cancer and wound up coming back from the depths of hell. What were the experiences that you had to emulate and demonstrate certain things? Courage, preparation, relationships, teamwork, whatever that is. And so look back on your past, find that diamond of content that often is hard for us to see when we're in the picture frame, right? We need others to kind of get into conversation with us because we often don't understand our expertise, but you have to go back on your life, go back on where you are naturally gifted, storytelling, building rapport, health and fitness, whatever it is. Find out where you're gifted, and then find something within that experience where you can have some stories that can compel and impel people to take action, to learn, to risk, to step out of their comfort zone, to try something unique and different so that they can grow, so that they can move to the next level. So it's all about experience. For me, it's wearing a flight suit. But guess what, guys and gals that are listening? No one gives a crap about this flight suit at the end of the day if I'm not able to connect it with the challenges that you are going through right now. This is an analogy. This is a brand that symbolizes me, Rob Waldo Waldman, father of two, courage monger, giver, hardcore New York attitude, get shit done type of guy. And if I can connect with you in that, that's beyond the flight suit, because people today, even through a camera, smell inauthenticity, smell BS, they smell phoniness, and they'd rather connect with you and your scars and issues and challenges and the fact that you may not have a perfect setup or you don't have a cool, sexy background like flying fighters. But if you can cut a vein and bleed real and relevant and raw, they'll connect with you and you've got a career in front of you. I don't care if it's in sales or being a professional speaker.
I'm going to steal that. Bleed real, relevant, and what was the other one?
Raw.
Raw. Dang. I'm literally writing that down. Hey, talk amongst yourselves. That's just too good.
No, and I like, it's like, it's obviously a part of your brand. And a lot of people toss the word brand, authority brand, personal brand around a lot. But you, Waldo, are not, just, putting it out there and it just becomes like some sort of icon. It is your life, and you're being authentic with it. And like you said, I mean, there's tons of people, you see that persona on that camera, or you see the persona that they've made on their LinkedIn profile or what they're doing. And then you see them in real life, or you experience them outside of that, and they're like completely different people. Yeah. And that gets exposed. People smell it. And so you never get that, that trust, that desire for your services as a salesperson or an entrepreneur or whatever you're doing in life. So I'm glad you pointed that out for the authenticity piece, for sure.
Enough of that. How'd you get into this? How'd you get into the speaking gig?
So after I left the military, I knew I wanted to join the reserve. I did around 25 years total, but I wanted to get into the business world. So I became a salesperson. I went to business school, got my MBA, and then I worked for a company called Simagon. They did virtual training through simulators on the computer. Picture a big flight simulator on a Dell laptop or an Airbook or a MacBook. It was called the Airbook, actually. Little computer, and we popped in simulation and all that. And I got into the defense contracting world. And then after 9/11 hit, they closed the U.S. office. I was the last wingman standing. And then I went into mergers and acquisitions. I knew the CEO of the company, my twin brother for the company. So I got trained in doing B2B high-level sales calls to CFOs, directors of tax, financial folks on mergers and acquisitions, on payroll tax. Don't ask me how I got excited about that, but I learned about cold calling and bold calling and doing presentations and follow-up and email and dealing with objections and setting pricing or whatever. And I learned a lot about sales and biz dev and also work ethic. I learned about standards, showing up on time, putting in a good 8 to 10 to 12 hour day where I'm sweating and working, showing up early to the calls, having my questions. I have high standards, just like I do in the fighter pilot world. I have them in my personal life. And so some people asked me to speak. The first place I spoke to was this place called High Tech, a Jewish technology network. High Tech. It's kind of funny.
You mean like high tech?
High Tech, yeah, CHAI, which is.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I met Frank Benjamin, who became my attorney, my intellectual property attorney. My buddy Al Wansky was the one that invited me there, and I met some great folks. And they said, "Waldo, can you talk about your combat experience as a Jew flying over Iraq?" And I started out the speech saying, "Hey, look, folks, there's only one thing worse and more fearful than being in a single engine, single seat, $30 million F-16 over enemy Iraqi territory. And that's being a Jewish. Right? And so, but I shared some stories, and they said one thing led to the next. I started selling independently for 3 or 4 months for a team building company. I learned about the business, and then two years later, I eventually weaned myself into the speaking world. 12 hours a day, I was making $0 to 50 grand a month because of my M&A experience and closing some deals, right? And then at night, and I was single at the time. Now I got a 10-year-old, and I've been married for a while. But then at night, from like 7:30 to midnight, I was prepping the business. I joined the National Speakers Association. I read books. I got a mini PhD in the speaking business. And then 10 years later, I got inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame. I was making 7 figures a year as a speaker. And then I eventually wrote my book, Never Fly Solo. So it was a progression. It didn't happen overnight. My brand evolved, by the way. Wingman didn't come from me. I talked about being a wingman, but in conversation with my peers, my mastermind group, key phrase that I'm sure you're familiar with, Ed Rigsby, my buddy from LA, went and saw me speak, and he's like, "Waldo, you always talk about Wingman. You should create the wingman.com. That should be you." I said, "No, I already looked up the URL. It's already taken." I'm like, that's as far as I went, right? And he's like, "Wait, but you're the wingman. You should create like yourwingman.com. You're their wingman. I want to be your wingman." So service, right? Got the URL, yourwingman.com, and the wingman was already taken, but I've got wingman and my wingman. But anyway, and then that was 5 years into my 20-year speaking career, and that's how the brand evolved. So I pivoted based on feedback from my buddies, and I've evolved my brand, and I love what I do.
So what I heard there was pounding hard work. Now you have experience. Not just the fighter jet isn't the experience. It's all the stuff that you did after that got you to your speed. You speak more about that experience than you do of flying F-16s at this point.
You got it. Yeah, you can see this picture right here.
Yeah.
Continuous development. I learned about personal growth and read the books, attended the seminars. I put in the time. Jim Rohn, famous philosopher, once said, "Work harder on yourself than you do on the job." So if I was really going to earn my wings as a speaker, I had to emulate and put to use those things that I learned as a fighter pilot. Otherwise, I'd be full of baloney. Well, Waldo, you talk about discipline, preparation, and courage, etc. Not flying by the seat of your pants, but you're showing up to these sales calls kind of not ready. You became a speaker, but you kind of copying off of people. You didn't build your own brand. Got to put in the time, got to listen to these podcasts and connect with people that have different skills and techniques than you, and put in the hard work. We have a saying in the Air Force, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in battle.
Dang, right? It's killing me. Gives me goosebumps. Jim Rohn actually
you need some time to write that down, Dan?
Yeah, I got it. Jim Rohn, he said, work on yourself, work on your job, and you'll make a living. Work on yourself, and you'll earn a fortune.
Roger that.
It's a lot easier to wake up in the morning to go earn your fortune than it is to make a living. So speaking of making a living, you got any offers for anybody? You got any deals? What do you got? What are you selling these days?
A couple things. So I want to give folks, first and foremost, so my Mission Ready, you can see that on the screen. I've got a 5-video series called Mission Ready, which are part of my ACE Academy. That's a 52+ video series. But if you want to get 5 videos on dealing with change, being mission ready, being a better wingman or wingmam with an M, or wingwoman, go to yourwingman.com/MR, all lowercase, yourwingman.com/MR. Put your name and email address in. I'll send you those videos. And if you want to get more training after that, that's fine. But those are great, fun, great videos for you to fire yourself up and fire up your team. And then also, I want to give everybody a free download to my New York Times bestseller, Never Fly Solo.
Oh, wow.
It's $20 on Audible, and because of my wingman relationship with the Deej, if you go to yourwingman.com/NFS, Put your name and email address in. You'll also get a copy of that, and you'll also be able to look at the ACE program there. Take whatever assets you want. And there's also a QR code on that screen. And the QR code, if you take your camera out, pop it on there. I know most people are connected on LinkedIn. Put the camera on that. It'll automatically connect us on LinkedIn. That way we can stay in touch. Key way to stay in touch. I love LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me there, I'm at Waldo Waldman. But those are key things to do to connect. And notice that I'm not just sharing content for the clients. These are things that speakers should do. It's not just for your people. Like, watch what others are doing to build relationships. Hey, hopefully I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. Maybe you've seen this. Maybe you work for a sales company that can hire me for a leadership or sales program. Maybe there's some piece of content that I can share with you for the next couple months that can make a difference. Maybe you're watching what I'm doing on LinkedIn or on this program that could teach you how to be a better salesman or woman. So emulate, don't copy, just emulate and model some of the things that your friendly competitors are doing and that others are doing right now, because there's so much free content out there that you can truly, really transform your business and your life by investing and learning from the top guns that are out there, just by showing up and taking action.
That is exactly right. And that's what I try to share with everybody on, these podcasts or the stuff we do on LinkedIn and everywhere, the live shows as well as regular podcasts. The whole idea is this is just talk unless you take action. And the idea is there's so much good stuff out there right now. There's so much free information that goes to waste. Step one is to take action. Go back to that QR code, download this book, get those videos from these things, and build a connection with Waldo. Before you can really, win the battle and drop the bombs, you got to take off. And sometimes you need a wingman next to you, prodding you, pushing you a little bit to do what you know you ought to do to become that ace. And Waldo, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here, being that wingman for everybody, including myself. And is it appropriate for a non-military man to salute you?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely, but it's not formal. You don't have to worry about doing it great. But you're saluting me with your heart and your friendship. But if you want to snap a salute, I'd be happy to snap one back to you, my friend.
Hey. There you go. I appreciate you and everybody else out there who's watching. You know how to connect with me, connect with Waldo, and make this day your best day ever. You're the best. I'm the Deej. Go get them today.
God bless you guys.